Listen to this staggering metric. Did you know that a visibly clean, highly organized workspace actually yields a proven 12 to 15% boost in complex problem-solving performance? It's incredible. We so often think of facility maintenance as just this basic, mundane operational checklist, but the actual data tells a completely different story.
And that immediately challenges us to ask a tough question. How much does a cluttered workspace actually cost your organization? And we're not just talking about cleaning bills or lost inventory here. We're talking about the hidden psychological costs of visual chaos. You see, when an environment is disordered, it unconsciously triggers avoidance behaviors. It increases the frequency of microdecisions and forces attentional switching, which literally drains your team's cognitive reserves throughout the day.
To combat that kind of cognitive drain, you absolutely need a high-level strategic approach. So, welcome to this premium masterclass training. Today, we're going to dive deep into designing, implementing, and optimizing world-class industrial hygiene programs. We're going to unpack the exact systems that top-tier organizations use to transform their physical spaces into absolute engines for productivity, safety, and retention. Here is the elite curriculum we'll be mastering today. Module 1, the ROI of clean workspaces. 2, regulatory foundations. 3, core hygiene frameworks. 4, executing SOPs. 5, human and ergonomic factors. And finally, 6, digital transformation and IoT.
All right, Module 1, the ROI of clean workspaces, the psychology of cleanliness. Let's get right into it.
Look, when hygiene systems fail, sure, you see the direct hits, things like absenteeism, product loss, and regulatory fines. But honestly, it's the indirect consequences that are truly insidious and ultimately far more expensive. Studies on indoor environmental quality, like the well-known Fisk study from the year 2000, prove that optimizing these conditions can actually reduce sick building symptoms by 20 to 50%. If you ignore this, you're looking at elevated employee turnover, tanked morale, and severe cognitive strain for the very people driving your business forward.
And as professionals, we all know you cannot manage what you don't measure. Elite organizations absolutely obsess over quantifying these outcomes by tracking workplace hygiene performance indicators. By monitoring KPIs, tracking absenteeism for health monitoring, cleaning compliance for operational control, audit scores for quality assurance, and infection incidents for risk monitoring, you're systematically mitigating sick building symptoms way before they can compromise your workforce.
Moving right along to Module 2, regulatory foundations and compliance. Mandatory health protections. Listen, no matter where your facility operates, the employer has an absolute non-negotiable legal duty to provide a safe environment. In the US, OSHA sets the standard. In the UK, it's Section 2 of the Health and Safety at Work Act. If you're in specialized environments like biopharma, you're looking at incredibly stringent codes like the 2022 revision of EU GMP Annex 1. On top of that, regulations like OSHA Section 11C vigorously protect workers from retaliation if they report hazards. Compliance here is not a voluntary optimization. It is the absolute bedrock of your operation. Let's transition to Module 3, Core Industrial Hygiene Frameworks, Systematizing Safety. Now, how do we actually systemize safety at scale? Well, it starts by defining industrial hygiene correctly. It is not just cleaning the office. Not even close. It is a rigorous scientific discipline. It's the practice of anticipating, recognizing, evaluating, and controlling environmental factors. The entire focus is on continuous exposure prevention. To properly evaluate those factors, you've got to categorize your primary hazard types. Professionals are constantly assessing 4 main categories. You have your airborne hazards like dust and fumes, chemical risks such as solvents and acids, biological threats, think bacteria and spores, and physical hazards, including excessive heat or extreme noise. Every single one of these requires continuous active assessment. To neutralize those exact hazards, professionals rely on a comprehensive 6-step framework. You identify the risks, you establish crystal clear standards, implement your procedures, train the personnel, rigorously monitor their compliance, and then you improve performance. It's a continuous loop, and that loop ensures you're preventing problems long before they ever have the chance to occur. Which brings us perfectly to Module 4, Executing Standard Operating Procedures. From strategy to action. Look, a high-level policy is completely useless if it doesn't actually translate into daily behavior on the ground.
Take this validated standard operating procedure framework from the Canadian Centre for Your Occupational Health and Safety. It's a perfect illustration of how an abstract rule, like, hey, let's keep the office clean, translates into strict, site-specific, auditable protocols for disinfecting touchpoints. And notice how the SOP breaks it down into highly precise steps. You don't just spray and wipe. That's a rookie mistake. You apply the disinfectant. You allow the surface to air dry to ensure adequate contact time. That's absolutely crucial. Then you wipe with a dry microfiber cloth to remove residue, reapply to keep the cloth damp, and you rigorously rotate those cloths daily. In this game, precision is what guarantees efficacy. Now, if you're operating in elite, pharmaceutical-grade environments, you actually have to manage the chemistry itself through what we call disinfectant rotation. You cannot just rely on a single agent. Best practices dictate alternating quaternary ammonium, what we call quats, with phenolics. Plus, you've got to periodically introduce sporicidal agents, like hydrogen peroxide blends, to guarantee a broad-spectrum kill rate and stop resistant fungal or bacterial spores dead in their tracks. Module 5. Optimizing Human and Ergonomic Factors, Design and Performance. Let's shift gears and look at the human element. Cleanliness directly influences human performance through ergonomics. Whether you're in a massive industrial facility or a remote work-from-home setup, organized and ergonomically sound environments drastically reduce unnecessary movement. They lower physical fatigue, decrease the risk of musculoskeletal disorders, and honestly, they just create a brilliant positive feedback loop. When employees aren't physically drained by their messy surroundings, their engagement and their retention rates absolutely skyrocket. Finally, Module 6, Digital Transformation and IoT, the Future of Facilities. We are literally in the middle of a revolution in digital hygiene management. The most elite facilities in the world aren't relying purely on manual oversight anymore. Systems like Connected Hygiene Intelligence, or CHI, use IoT smart sensors to monitor occupancy and air quality in real time. So instead of using rigid, outdated cleaning schedules, artificial intelligence triggers predictive cleaning based on actual room usage. Throw in autonomous floor scrubbers, and you've suddenly got an ecosystem that proactively prevents maintenance issues. But here is the absolute crucial takeaway. While robotics and AI dramatically improve efficiency and give you unprecedented data visibility, they do not replace human expertise. Technology augments your highly trained hygiene professionals. It frees them up to focus on high-level risk management and strategy, rather than getting bogged down in repetitive manual tasks. So, as we close out this masterclass training, I want to leave you with a direct, practical challenge. Look closely at your own organization. If an operational audit occurred today, would your hygiene systems be exposed as reactive and outdated? Or are you operating with predictive, data-driven intelligence? Elevating your facility's hygiene strategy to an elite standard isn't just about passing an inspection anymore. It's about protecting your people, optimizing your performance, and mastering the science of the workplace. Thank you for joining me in this masterclass.